Hey everyone, today I wanted to show off my mono BLUE TRON list for Modern. Editing me here. It's based on a mono BLUE TRON deck that was used in a card market video, which I will link in the description. Also, if you don't already know what Tron decks are, I will link the AMI02 guide to Tron videos in the description, since they do a better job of explaining than I could, and I don't want to waste your time if you already know what Tron is. Well, it's blue, so instead of the usual things like Ancestral Stirrings and Sylvan Scrying to search our deck for lands, we have counter spells and draw spells to delay the opponent's game plan while we draw into our Tron pieces. Outside of being blue, it's pretty stock Tron. We have Karn, we have Ugin, we do run Chalice of the Void and Engineered Explosives in the main board, and we have 4 Expedition Map and Relic of Progenitus, and we do have 4 of each Tron land. We are running 4 Remand, which is probably my favorite counterspell. Since we aren't searching our deck for the Tron lands with green spells, drawing cards is very important. Condescend, which counters and then scries. We have Repeal, which bounces a permanent and then draws a card. Remand, which counters and draws a card. Thirst for Knowledge, that's in the list for the card market video. I wasn't sure about it at first, but I tested it out and it does actually play pretty well. I made my list a little bit different from the card market video. I'm playing fewer artifacts in the main board than they were, and so because of that, I wasn't sure about Thirst for Knowledge, but I did test it out and it does work fine. A Cyclonic Rift is great. You get 7 mana and bounce all your opponent's stuff other than their lands. Completely blows them out. That's fun. Trinket Mage is a fun one of that lets us search our deck for a 1 cost or 0 cost artifact. So that's Chalice, EE, Expedition Map, or Relic. Shark Typhoon is a one of. I tried 2 Shark Typhoons like the card market list, but I just didn't enjoy having 2. It was just too much, so I think 1 is enough. 3 Dismembers in the main board. I had 2 in the main and 1 on the side at first, but I just brought in all 3. This is something that was in the card market list already. It's Murkwater Pathway and Clearwater Pathway. So it's blue on the front and black on the back. And we have one of those just so that we have access to 1 black mana pip. That'll keep us from having to pay 4 life to use Dismember. So if we have Murkwater Pathway, we can pay for 1 of the black mana and then just take 2 life, because Dismember otherwise will cost 4 life, and we want to have the chance to just be able to pay 2 life for it. Okay, this is my favorite part. We have a Karn sideboard, so these are all Karn tutor targets, except for the Emrakul and the Mystical Dispute. So we do have 1 E in the main board, we have another on the side, we have Liquid Metal Coating, Ballista, Stone Brain, Centering Titan, Pithing Needle, Ensnaring Bridge, Leveler, Crypt, and Mindslaver. Mindslaver is my favorite part. Mindslaver does an infinite combo with Academy Ruins. You play the Mindslaver, sacrifice it, and you control your opponent's next turn. And then you put it back on the top of your deck with Academy Ruins, and then your opponent just never gets another turn again, because you'll always draw your Mindslaver. It locks them out of the game, and they just have to concede. I'm running 1 Emerald to Aeon's Torn in the sideboard for mill matchups. Side that in, it's fun. And then I have 4 Mystical Dispute, which I'm not really sure about. I just threw 4 in there. I might want to go down to 2 Mystical Dispute and put 2 of some other counterspell or something, maybe a different artifact to tutor for Karn with in the sideboard, but it's 4 Mystical Disputes for now. At first, I tried to run Karn's Bastion in here as a one of. That's a land that lets you pay 4 mana to proliferate. I figured we could proliferate up the Chalice of the Void, or the EE, or the Blast Zone, or even the Karn and the Ugin, but I wasn't really feeling it, so I took that out. It was just too slow. It didn't do anything. I have 1 Emrakul the Promised End. We do have a few card types in the deck, but we're not going to be able to get one of those each in the graveyard consistently, so usually you're not going to get it down to cost 7. It's just going to cost 10, which is plenty. We can get 10 mana with the Urza lands, so that's no big deal. I think it's about as good as the Mindslaver. It doesn't do an infinite loop because it's not an artifact and it doesn't sacrifice, but it can blow the opponent out. The card market list had Snapcaster Mage, and I tried it and I just never got to cast Snapcaster Mage. I usually only have 1 blue mana pip up. I've gotten 2 at one point, but usually you just have 1, and so Snapcaster, if you can cast the Snapcaster, but then you can't cast any of your counter spells because you only have 1 blue mana pip. So Snapcaster wasn't very good. Also early on I tried an Eldrazi build with it, and I didn't like it, so I took it out for more counter spells and Dismembers and stuff. Squelch, I think I might put 2 Squelches back into the sideboard. I think it's as close to a Shadow of Doubt as we can run in this deck, so basically this will let you pretty much counter fetch lands. I want to run Shadow of Doubt in here as a fun one of, but it costs 2 blue mana pips, and it's just not realistic with this deck's mana base. So I think I might put Squelch back in. The card market list also ran one Oboro Palace in the Clouds, but I really just wasn't sure what it was for. I don't know what the bouncing the land back to your hand does for this deck. I know it's used in Mill for the extra landfall trigger, just in case you don't draw any lands, but I could not figure out what this card does in this deck. The card market list also ran Gemstone Caverns, which I just didn't like. I don't want to have to exile a card from our hand to get an extra land. It wasn't worth it to me. I guess I see it. I guess I can see it. You exile one of your blue spells and you get an extra blue mana pip up, but I don't think it's necessary. So yeah, that's it for BLUE TRON. I hope you find the deck interesting. If you have any ideas for it, or you know what the Oboro Palace in the Clouds would do, or you have any other suggestions, if you think Squelch would be a good addition. I'm also working on some speculative and kind of history videos for Modern, so please tell me if you're interested in those. I want to do something about, I'm writing a little opinion piece about Orcish Bowmasters and the One Ring and how that's affecting Murktide right now. I also played in a Pioneer Regional Championship qualifier over the weekend, and I will be working on a report video on that soon.